Hello, hello! Let's talk about Crystal Chamber. Again. So, as far as this is concerned, we're going to be tackling this boss, but with Cinderella this time. Cinderella does force you to do a few things differently. Thankfully, whenever you get around burst 3, you get to actually have a decoy placed in front of Cinderella that basically soaks the damage for the entire team. When it comes down to the laser the boss does, but as far as the boss is concerned, the boss is a little more difficult to play right because you lose a lot of burst gen. To put it in perspective, Cinderella shoots about 3 times for 0.45% burst gen, counting the 200% burst gen from being a rocket launcher, by the way, and being in control. If you are not in control of the character, you're getting 0.225% burst gen per shot. Why does that matter? Well, Scarlet does 0.45 per shot and she shoots 12 times a second. I don't think I have to explain more than that. It makes burst gen a problem for the entire fight. Just so you guys understand, it's really important to be wary of this because that's going to be what's gonna cost you the most when it comes down to this fight. While she taunt all the lasers away, if you're talking about the rest, she's not taunting anything. So there's that. If she has a decoy up and a laser happens, all the lasers are wasted every time. So that's pretty good. It's a pretty good just layer of security for your team. But the burst gen is absolutely killer, and there is way more RNG with Cinderella than there was with Scarlet. With Scarlet, you were actually destroying most of the RNG. You were able to just break one of the parts. So what I mean is, the horns you were able to break one, so that when it did the mechanic where it throws one at you, it was not RNG. This is no longer the case, because Cinderella does not do damage to part. Or rather, she does, but it's like 30% of her damage. And no burst damage. So what do I mean by this is very simple. Scarlet's damage is all direct. So as a result, whatever damage she's throwing on the boss is thrown on the part as well. With Cinderella, it's a little different. She has 30% multiplier on a rocket launcher, which is shit. It doubles because she has 200%, so it doubles to 64-ish%, and it's still shit. And then her skill 1 does 136% damage. This is indirect damage. It does not apply to parts. You do not get to destroy parts with that damage whatsoever. Likewise, the burst does not hit. Same thing with Scarlet, but you don't burst with Scarlet, so that you know. I think I don't have to explain more than this. The point is, breaking parts is a lot harder with this team. As a result, Scarlet is the more chill option, but it is slightly worse. For reference, I cleared this fight on Chapter 30 with 35.5% deficit. I cleared it here with 34.5% deficit, but the fight is artificially inflated. What I mean by this is that, well, Chapter 28 had 2,000 bars, Chapter 30 had 2,200 bars, so you'd think Chapter 31 would have 2,300 or 2,400. It doesn't. It has 3,000 bars of HP. Literally, why? If it wasn't for that, I think I would be able to clear 38-39% deficit with Cinderella, but because of this deficit, it just becomes an absolute nightmare. Or rather, because of the fact that it just has 25% more HP for the sake of having 25% more HP, it just makes everything a living nightmare. This fight is what I like to refer to as a pachinko boss. You don't actually get to do much in this fight. It's all about the boss deciding whether or not what you're doing actually mattered. You're going to see what I mean by this. So, first burst. you actually go Litter, Crown, Cinderella. You do not want to burst with Red Hood like you would with Scarlet. Now, you might be wondering, why is that the case? You are not able to break the Crystal Horn regardless in one burst, so it doesn't matter. Also, toward the very end of the fight, if you play your cards right, you should be able to try to break apart with both the end of a Red Hood burst, Cinderella, and then the start of another Red Hood burst at the very, very end. This is very important, because otherwise you won't break the final part in time, and that's 220 bars of damage gone. And suddenly you no longer can win the fight. So, yeah, you have to start with Cinderella no matter what. So here, again, you use aim assist, you max aim assist. You want aim assist at max because it makes so that if you have a character and you force it to shoot at something, and the thing can actually be aimed at, aka aim assist triggers and locks you in. If you make one of your Nikke shoot at that point and swap to a different Nikke, they will constantly shoot at where you told them to shoot. So you can do that with Litter, you can do that with Crown, and then you can just fuck off and do something else with your life. Because these two are able to break the part by themselves. Now, there is one scenario in which they can't, and that scenario is if that rock goes straight for Litter, which, by the way, you do not want Crown on the most left. That's a mistake. That is a big mistake, because what ends up happening is that Crown might actually taunt the Ice Rock to go straight here. You do not have the same amount of time for slot 1 or slot 5. If this rock goes for slot 5, you have like 9 seconds, 10 seconds, maybe even more. If it goes to Litter, you have 5 or less seconds. It becomes impossible. So you don't want Crown in that spot because that just facilitates a lose situation like that. Just thought it would be worth mentioning because I was stupid and I had Crown in that position for the longest time. And then I figured out and I was like, oh my god, I am such a stupid idiot. Now, with that said though, you genuinely cannot really put Crown in a different spot because then it becomes harder for you to burst fast. Because Red Hood is really annoying with her burst 1 and her burst 2. But it is what it is. I frankly just wish I could turn off burst 2. It never helps. It always screws you over. I hate it, but it is what it is. So here you just ignore it. The two, both Crown and Litter will shoot it and break it for you. Then you just RH, Crown, RH, and try to do as much damage to it as possible. Note, this is RNG. I wish I was kidding. Whichever one it will throw will keep its HP bar. The problem with that is that it can just throw the one that's perfectly healthy, and then all the damage you've done to the Crystal Horn is gone. Your run is dead. It is in the hand of this asshole boss, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's horrendous. So as a result, if it throws the one on the left at you while you're doing damage to this one, too bad. Your run's dead. Better try next time. I think I've lost at least 70% of my attempts to just this mechanic alone, and it is absolutely abysmal. I hate this boss. This boss just sucked the life away of this game for me, just because you have like that really good run, and then you lose it because of some bullshit RNG, and then you restart, and then you're stuck here again, losing 3 or 4 times before you even get an attempt in again. And it just tilts you, and then you just fuck up, and then you die. It's really frustrating. Just keep in mind, take it one step at a time. It is RNG. It is what it is. If you have a deficit that's too high, wait for it to be lower. That's also a thing you can do. Even though personally I don't do that, I understand that, you know, it can be too much of a nightmare to want to keep going. Here I try to hit the bottom because the place where aim assist fucking ohms you in, I'm not even sure you get to hit the body behind it. So I try to hit more toward the bottom because that way I can hit the bottom part of the crystal chamber regardless. Without aim assist dragging me up. Here I fucked up. Ideally, what you want to do is not proc litter right away. You want to wait until your Red Hood's burst is at 20 seconds. Once it's at 20 seconds, you're fine. This one will always go for crown, though if you have more ammo, I do not know if this is consistent. But in my case, the crystal chamber will always throw these to crown. Here I'm trying to do the most damage on the one on the left, because that way I can potentially do damage to it through the Red Hood burst. Very important that you do not complete this QT in advance. You want it to be completed with like almost no times to spare, because this dictates how much time you have left to burst, or rather to have some burst gen. So here, as you can see, it was very limit, and here you can see I still have some time. I am not spam shooting. I am full charging. Because the second that this ends, it's better for me to shoot like this, and then just generate the burst and go. If you do not do this like this, and you don't get that burst in time, and you have to wait for this and shoot at them to burst and everything, you lose too much time, you lose the final burst at the very end of the fight, give up, restart. If you're at high deficit, you need to do it like this. You do not have the time to fuck up like this. And here I'm fucking up, but at the very least I bursted at the right time, and that's the thing that matters the most. And here again, you can see, the burst ends, I full charge, shoot immediately when I can, and then spam shoot. The faster you actually get to shoot like this, the better. If you can break this part, okay, if your deficit is lower and you can actually break this part, fantastic, good job. That basically means that you are doing more damage, and it's just going to respawn one of these on the spot it is at after the phase transition. It's great because it means you just are doing more damage in general than I am, so you have a better way of dealing with the very end, and it's less RNG. But if you fail to kill it, swap to the right one right away after the transition. This is because the crystal ball always come from the left. So that way I leave some of it left so that I can still do damage to it with Red Hood through Pierce. As you can see here, it's also easier to hit the skill 2 here. And this is also a lot tougher if you don't get your burst done just before the QTE hell dimension. Because you're not going to finish this burst fast enough. Why does it matter? Well, this ball you have almost no time. Like, I have 1.57 seconds left. I'm still in full burst. Now, see this. This is how much time I had. It was very tight. If you don't do it fast enough and it's going to crown, which it most likely is, in my case anyway. In my case, usually crown is taunting, so it goes toward crown as a result. Yeah, it makes it very nightmarish if you don't do it just before the QTE dimension. Here you want to do the circle as fast as you can, obviously, because otherwise Red Hood does not do damage to the horn. So, it's important to just break them as soon as you can. Be careful of the lasers. If you are not in full burst, that means that Cinderella is not the one being shot. So then it becomes a case of, does Crown have 20 stacks? If not, you have to cover between laser shots. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Also here, Litter got shot by lasers. I don't understand. The lasers always target the one with the highest attack. That's why it usually goes for Red Hood, and if I'm in burst, it goes for Cinderella, because 3.21% over HP becomes attack. Or is it 2.81? I think it's 2.81. Anyway, point is, she has basically 140% attack increase when you have reached stage 3, so as a result, she's the one being targeted unless Red Hood is bursting herself. So that helps, and obviously if Crown is bursting, then you have nothing to fear. She is the one that's the least in danger. Always pay attention to here. I expect people to already know about this because of my first video on the boss. However, I might as well mention for people who are actually new to this, because the other video is not exactly helpful because they have a Cinderella build, but they don't have Scarlet or whatever. The boss does lasers based on having a red circle around the middle part of its body. It will do 2 lasers a pop every time to the highest attack unit, as I mentioned before. And after that, it just moves on. It can potentially do it twice in a row in Phase 2, because in Phase 2 it no longer follows a pattern. It just does whatever it wants. It makes the fight extremely RNG, but it is what it is. It is the thing you have to pay attention the most. Also, keep in mind that you will always face tank 1 laser at the start of the match. I don't know about you, but in my case, it basically is my limit. If I get hit a second time, and I don't have shield from Crown, I die. Okay? So, you don't really have a whole room for error. So if you see a laser's coming, and you don't know where it's coming yet, like you're not used to like, am I in burst so I'm safe? Or is Crown bursted, or is Crown stack reaching 20 soon? Just cover. Don't ask questions, just cover and then just see after. Assess the situation as you're covering. This is the final part. So, this is again RNG, but you barely did any damage to it. That said, every bit counts. In my case, it is so close that I'm not sure I would have been able to actually break it in time if I did not do damage beforehand. Or if my damage had been deleted. So this is the first Red Hood burst of the final part break, as I mentioned before. Here, as you can see, I just keep shooting anyway. If Red Hood is not in danger and you have Crystal coming at you, on anyone, on not Red Hood anyway, you can just cover and spam shoot with Red Hood. They don't really generate burst anyway, so it doesn't matter. What's important is that you burst as soon as you can. And here, you want to do them as fast as you can. See, this is pure luck. I've gotten to this point at least 10 times before this one actually mattered. The thing is, depending on what action the boss takes, it will do the bubble sooner or later. You want it to happen sooner, because if it happens later, it will happen in the middle of you bursting with Red Hood, and it's just going to be dead. Your run is going to be dead. You want it to happen at the end of the burst with Cinderella, because Cinderella will be able to do the 3 circles fast enough, and that's super important. Extremely important even. Because if you get it right, if you get it done in time, then this happens. You can just focus on the horn and bam, it's dead. This I had like 1.1, 1.2 seconds left. Like I said, every bit of damage counts. Every single bit of it. But again, this is 34.5% deficit. I don't expect people to push that much deficit. This is my alt Cinderella. She has 3 attack rolls and 4 elemental damage, as well as 1 max ammo. So she's definitely high up there. My Summer Niece has 2 attack rolls, and 4 elemental rolls. No ammo, of course. So, yeah. No wonder they did as well as they did. That said, I hope this is helpful. This is my second recording of it, but yeah. I'm going to also make a video on Elysian only Mother Whale after this. So, there's that. After that, I don't think I have any video to really make. I kind of want to make Mirror Container as a guide, but I'm going to put it this way. My Ein is doo-doo on my main, my Summer and Niece is okay, and my Cinderella is alright now. I have very, very bad luck with overload, so as a result, I can't really do it at the deficit I would like to do it at. I think I'm at 1.22 mil power-ish. So I don't know if people would even want to see a guide on that. If people do, I will make a guide on it. If not, what's going to happen is I'm going to just wait on my alt getting there. For reference, my alt is on 32-29 hard right now, so I'm not even that far off. But I'm the team I would be using for the boss is at 950k power, and the lowest recorded clear, I think, is like 1.1 bill. I don't think I'm gonna be quite able to clear this anytime soon. But yeah. Again, I hope this was helpful to at least some people. And with that, have a good day, everyone. I'll see you all in the next one. See ya.